I'm using a throwaway account for obvious reasons. I've changed all the names to protect everyone's privacy, but every single detail you're about to read actually happened. Last Thursday, I discovered my children's passports hidden inside my husband David's gym bag. Those were the exact passports I'd been searching for since July, because I needed our son Ethan's for a school trip permission slip. The same passports David swore he couldn't locate anywhere, claiming we probably misplaced them during our move last spring, and that we should just apply for replacements after the holidays. There they were, tucked inside a zipped compartment of his Adidas duffel. I only found them because I was looking for my yoga straps that he sometimes borrows. We live in Milwaukee, and David's parents live in Houston. 2 weeks ago, when he mentioned wanting to take Ethan and Lily to visit his parents for a week in early October, I actually felt relieved. I work at a CVS pharmacy, and September through November is always chaos with flu clinics and insurance changes. Plus, I've been picking up extra shifts for a coworker on maternity leave. The thought of having 7 whole days to myself sounded like heaven. I could finally organize the garage, watch all the shows he hates, maybe finish painting Lily's room that's been half-primed since February. He was being unusually sweet about it, too. Kept telling me I deserved rest, that I carry too much, that his mom missed the kids terribly. Ethan just started first grade, Lily's in preschool, so pulling them out for a few days seemed manageable. David works remotely, so his schedule is flexible. Everything added up perfectly. Then Sunday evening, I was helping him pack because I'm always the one who remembers extra socks, favorite loveys, and Ethan's EpiPen. He had clothes laid out on our bed, and as I was neatly rolling things into his suitcase, I noticed he'd packed 2 thick winter coats for the kids, the puffy North Face ones from last year. I stood there confused because I'd checked Houston's forecast that morning, and it was supposed to be upper 80s to low 90s all week. I asked why on earth he packed heavy coats when it was going to be sweltering, and for a split second, his face did something strange. Just a flash. Then he laughed it off, said his mom keeps the thermostat at like 65 degrees, that her house is basically a freezer. Okay, fine. I've only been to his parents' place 3 times in the 9 years we've been together. And yes, his mom likes it cold, but not parkas in the house cold. I let it slide because I didn't want to argue, but the unease stuck with me. Something felt off. Monday morning after David dropped the kids at school, I was getting ready for my shift when that moment kept replaying in my head. On impulse, I went into his home office. He always leaves his laptop open because he's constantly switching between work and personal tabs. I told myself I was just double-checking the weather, that I was being ridiculous. His browser history was right there. No digging required. He'd been searching some seriously disturbing things, a ton of them. Turkey non-extradition treaties, whether U.S. authorities can recover abducted children from Turkey, Turkish family law regarding dual national kids, how to establish residency in Ankara, international child abduction protocols. All searched between 1-3 a.m. the previous Wednesday. Different phrasings, same terrifying theme. I just sat there staring, and suddenly every puzzle piece slammed into place in the worst possible way. David's father is Turkish, immigrated in the late 80s. David was born in the US but holds dual citizenship. We discussed visiting Turkey exactly once years ago when we were dating. I'd said maybe someday, but flying internationally with toddlers sounded exhausting. He never mentioned it again. But his older brother Amir still lives in Ankara. They message sometimes. Amir has never visited the States, never met our children. David sends him money when Amir asks. It used to bother me, but whatever, family is family. I opened David's email next. Found the flight confirmations in his deleted folder from 3 weeks prior. Not to Houston. One-way tickets to Ankara departing Thursday, October 3rd. 3 passengers. David, Ethan age 6, Lily age 4. One-way. Departing Milwaukee Mitchell at 6:45 p.m. with a connection through Frankfurt. That was in 3 days. He was planning to vanish with them in 72 hours, and I almost never found out. My hands shook so badly I could barely click. I opened WhatsApp on his laptop. It syncs with his phone. Found an entire conversation thread with Amir. Hundreds of messages, mostly in Turkish. I don't speak Turkish. David tried teaching me basics years ago, but I never retained it, and he stopped trying. I copied chunks into Google Translate, and it was clear enough to make me want to vomit. Rough translations, but unmistakable. He'd been orchestrating this since at least May. Amir was helping with every detail: school enrollment in Ankara, apartment options, remote work possibilities. The most recent messages were countdowns. Amir wrote something like, "Just 48 hours and you're untouchable here. She'll have no legal standing." David's reply, "I know, just need to get them on that plane." After that, Rachel can scream all she wants. She'll never get them back. I thought I might actually be sick right there at his desk. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't a breakdown. This was calculated, months-long betrayal. He'd been playing the perfect husband, extra attentive, extra affectionate, while secretly plotting to disappear with our children to a country where U.S. custody orders are worthless. That's when I tore apart his gym bag and found the passports, along with a folder of other documents. International travel consent forms for minors traveling with one parent. The kind you need when the other parent isn't present. Except these forms had my signature. A signature I never wrote. He'd forged it, practiced it until it was convincing enough for TSA not to question. I photographed everything: browser history, emails, WhatsApp screenshots, passports, forged forms. Then I carefully put everything back exactly as I'd found it. Went to work, smiled at customers, gave flu shots, all while my mind was screaming. After my shift, I didn't go home. I drove straight to a family law attorney I'd found online, Jennifer Morrison, showed her all the photos. She verified the flight bookings immediately. They were real, active, set for Thursday evening. She started making calls. Police, district attorney's office explained imminent international parental abduction, forged documents, flight risk. They told me to act completely normal. Do not confront him. Do not let on that I knew anything. If he suspected, he could move the plan up or disappear immediately. They needed to catch him at the gate with the children, the forged documents, and the one-way tickets. Otherwise, his attorney could claim it was all hypothetical. So now I had to go home and pretend everything was fine. Let him finish packing. Let him take the kids to school Tuesday and Wednesday. Let him believe his escape was on track, while knowing that in less than 72 hours, he planned to put my babies on a plane to a country I'd likely never recover them from. Turkish courts heavily favor fathers in custody disputes, especially when the children are already on Turkish soil. I got home around 8 p.m. Monday and David was cooking. Tacos, Lily's favorite. He smiled, asked about my day, offered wine, said he'd already bathed the kids. Such a devoted dad. Planning to permanently erase me from their lives in 3 days. I drank the wine. I ate the tacos. I watched Encanto with the kids. I smiled and laughed in all the right places even though I wanted to scream. Tuesday night now. Ethan asked earlier if I was sad they were leaving without me. He's so excited. David's been hyping the zoo, the aquarium, ice cream every day. Lily made me a goodbye card with marker drawings of airplanes and grandmas. They have no idea. They think they're going on a fun adventure. Thursday at 3 p.m. I'm supposed to kiss them goodbye and wave as they drive to the airport with their father. And then what? Sit by my phone until police confirm they stopped him. What if something goes wrong? What if he senses police and bolts? What if they somehow board? I keep looking at David and wondering who I actually married. How did I miss this? How do you plan something this monstrous while acting completely normal? He's been kissing me goodnight, helping with homework, all while coordinating with his brother on how to make me childless forever. My lawyer says once they arrest him at the airport, I can file for emergency sole custody and a protection order. The forgery alone is multiple felonies. He'll likely face federal charges for attempted international parental abduction. I'll get permanent custody easily after this. But right now none of that matters because I still have to survive the next 2 days. I have to keep pretending. I have to watch him pack their loveys and print boarding passes and play the perfect dad. I don't know how I'm going to explain any of this to Ethan and Lily when it all explodes. How do you tell a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old that their father was trying to steal them forever? That the trip to grandma's was a lie? That they'll likely never see their Turkish family again because those people helped orchestrate this? Someone please tell me Thursday gets here fast, and also that I never want Thursday to come. Update: I can't even process what just happened, and it's only been a few hours. The comments on my last post kept me breathing, especially the ones telling me to trust the process and stay strong. Wednesday nearly broke me. Wednesday morning David was extra cheerful, like manic cheerful. Made chocolate chip pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse. Ethan was vibrating with excitement. Lily kept asking if Grandma has a swing set. I sat there sipping coffee, forcing smiles while my insides were shredded. David kept touching me, hand on my back, kiss on my temple, like he was savoring the last performance of devoted husband. Around 10 a.m. my mom called, our usual Wednesday check-in. I could barely form sentences. She immediately asked what was wrong, and I almost lost it with David 10 feet away unloading the dishwasher. I told her I had a migraine, work stress, I'd call later. She went quiet in that mom way that hears everything, but I hung up before I cracked. David gave me a weird look afterward, asked if mom was okay. I said yeah, just tired. He nodded, but his eyes stayed on me too long. For one terrifying moment, I thought he'd figured it out, that my acting had slipped. Jennifer had texted that morning, act 100% normal, do not deviate from routine, so I went to work like any other day. My 6-hour shift felt like 60. I kept checking my phone. Jennifer texted at 2 p.m., everything is in place for tomorrow, airport police are briefed. Do not come to Mitchell, stay far away. But how do you just sit home while your kids are driven toward an international flight with a kidnapper? Wednesday night was hell. David finished packing 3 full suitcases. I watched him fold Ethan's Spider-Man pajamas and Lily's tutu dresses. He even packed their sleep animals, Mr. Bunny and Blue Bear. He was packing for permanent relocation because that's what this was. Kids went to bed at 8:30. Then it was just us in the living room. He asked if I wanted to watch something. I said sure. We put on some sitcom, I can't remember which. He kept trying to hold my hand. At one point said he knew this solo week would recharge me, that when they got back we should do a proper date night. I looked at the man I'd built a life with for almost a decade and realized he was talking about future date nights while actively destroying our family. The level of deception was incomprehensible. Thursday morning I maybe slept 2 hours. House felt wrong, air too heavy. David was already up showering. Kids woke at 7 asking if today was airplane day. Their faces so excited. I made French toast. David came down looking sharp, nice sweater, good jeans, ready for his new life. He kept checking his watch, anxious about timing. Flight was 6:45 p.m. He wanted to leave by 3 to account for security. At 1 p.m. I helped dress the kids. Lily insisted on her unicorn shirt. Ethan wore his Packers jersey. They packed little backpacks with snacks and tablets. David loaded the car. At 2:30 Jennifer texted, "Officers ready. Stay home, almost over. I wanted to throw up." David called from the garage, "Time to go." The kids ran to hug me. Lily squeezed my neck and said she'd bring me a surprise. Ethan said, "Don't worry, Mommy, we'll FaceTime every day." I held them so tight, too tight. David noticed, raised an eyebrow. Then he looked at me strangely and asked if I was okay, if something was really wrong. I smiled too wide and said just emotional. He stared another second like he was scanning for cracks. Then Lily tugged his hand, "Daddy, we have to go or we'll miss the plane," and the moment broke. I walked them to the garage. Watched him buckle them in. He came around for a goodbye kiss. I let him. He told me to order sushi, take baths, enjoy the quiet. Then he backed out, and I watched our minivan disappear with my entire world inside. Jennifer said stay home, but I couldn't breathe. I got in my car and drove to the airport cell lot far from terminals. I sat there shaking. Phone said 3:47 p.m. At 5:17 Jennifer called. "It's done. He's in custody at the gate. Kids are safe with family services. Come now, specific entrance instructions." I drove like a zombie. A kind female officer met me, brought me to a quiet room where Ethan and Lily sat with a social worker. They looked terrified. Lily was crying silently. Ethan ran to me asking why police took Daddy, where was Daddy, what happened to the airplane. I held them and said we're going home, everything's okay now. They kept asking about Daddy. The social worker explained David was detained. I'd have an emergency hearing tomorrow. Kids saw the arrest. We got home around 7. Kids were wrecked. Lily sobbed uncontrollably. Ethan was angry at me. "Why did you let them take Daddy? He didn't do anything." I tried explaining in 6- and 4-year-old terms, but there's no gentle way to say your father tried to steal you forever. Put them to bed at 9 after endless questions, then sat alone in silence. My phone had 20+ missed calls and texts from David's parents in Houston. Apparently David had called his mom from the airport before arrest, told her there was a ticket mix-up, asked her to call me. She had no idea about Turkey. Only Amir knew. Then at 10 p.m. I opened Instagram. David had posted a story 3 hours earlier, selfie with the kids at the gate, caption, "Taking my children home where they truly belong. A new life starts today." Home, he meant Turkey. I screenshotted before it disappeared. At 10:30 an international call. Amir, screaming in broken English, "How dare I ruin everything, the children are Turkish. I stole them, I'll regret this. Turkish courts will side with David. I was a terrible wife who never supported his culture. This was my fault." I told him forgery and attempted kidnapping are felonies. He laughed. American laws don't matter there. I hung up, blocked the number. But it shook me. His entire family thinks I'm the villain. David had been poisoning them against me for months. Jennifer texted at 11. David posted bail. Emergency no contact order in place, but he's out staying at a hotel. Arraignment Monday. Emergency custody hearing tomorrow afternoon. I'm writing this at 1 a.m. Thursday night, Friday morning. My children are traumatized. The man I loved is a stranger who convinced himself stealing them was righteous. Someone tell me this gets better, because right now the nightmare feels endless. Final update, I'm at my mom's house. Couldn't stay in our house another night. Friday morning I dropped the kids with Mom. Ethan's still asking when he can see Daddy. Lily barely spoke. Mom took one look at me and held me while I finally cried. She wanted to come to court, but Jennifer said judges sometimes see family support as weakness. Courthouse was freezing. Waited 45 minutes on a bench. Jennifer found me looking like death. Said David hired a shark attorney overnight, some international custody specialist named Gregory. Of course. Walked in and there was David in a new suit, calm as if this was a closing. He looked at me like I was nothing. Judge was a tired-looking woman in her late 50s. She had everything, the police reports, screenshots, forged forms. Jennifer presented first. One-way tickets, WhatsApp plots, forgery, laid it all out. Judge's face when she saw the consent forms was pure disgust. Then Gregory stood up and I nearly screamed. Started talking about cultural alienation, father's rights, heritage, how David just wanted the children to know their roots. Called the one-way tickets an administrative oversight. Actually accused me of cultural insensitivity. I lost it, stood up. He forged my signature. He was fleeing the country. Judge told me to sit or be removed. Jennifer squeezed my arm so hard it bruised. Judge granted me temporary sole custody, supervised visitation only for David, surrender all passports, no leaving Wisconsin. Everything we asked for, but temporary. Another hearing in 30 days. Picked up the kids, spent Friday night pretending life was normal while my brain spun. Saturday morning making pancakes and David called from a random number. Said his lawyer advised no contact, but he needed me to understand. I should have hung up. But I needed to hear the justification, locked myself in the bedroom. He spoke fast, rehearsed. Said he always planned to explain once they were settled in Ankara. That he wasn't abandoning me. He was saving the children from a life he could no longer tolerate. That America suffocated him. That he missed his language, his food, his real family. That raising the kids here meant they'd lose their Turkish identity completely. That my family was overbearing, that he felt erased in his own home. I asked why he never said any of this in 9 years. He claimed he tried, that I dismissed every mention of Turkey, that I made it clear his culture didn't matter. I told him that's insane, that wanting a family vacation someday isn't the same as unilateral abduction. That adults communicate or go to counseling, they don't forge documents and flee. He kept saying I still wasn't listening, that I was proving his point. Then he blamed me. If I'd embraced his culture more, if I'd learned Turkish, if I'd been more open, he wouldn't have been forced to this extreme. I told him that's abuser logic. He said in Turkish families, the father's decision about upbringing is respected. That he had every right to raise his children in his homeland. That American courts are biased toward mothers, but Turkish law would have agreed with him. He even said once they were settled, maybe I could visit, that we could have worked something out. I asked if he was delusional. Did he really think I'd be okay seeing my children twice a year in another country? He said many expat divorced parents make it work. That's when I realized he'd already mentally divorced me months ago. He'd decided our marriage and life in America were over, and he was simply taking what he believed was his. Then he admitted his Houston parents had no idea, thought the kids were visiting them. Only Amir knew the truth, and he begged me not to tell his parents because they'd side with me. I told him they deserved to know their son is a criminal. He got angry, said I was vindictive, that I should think of the children. I hung up. He called back 3 times. I blocked. He texted from another number. The kids will hate you for keeping them from me and their heritage. You're the one destroying this family. Screenshotted everything, sent to Jennifer. She was furious I spoke to him, but said his admissions strengthened the criminal case. Sunday, David's mom called. Amir had told her everything. She was devastated her son lied to her too. Monday morning, 20+ WhatsApp messages from Amir time-stamped 4 a.m. my time. Calling me every vile name, saying I stole Turkish children, that I never deserved David, that I controlled him. that the entire family supports David, that I'll regret this, that I better watch my back. Then messages from cousins, aunts, uncles I'd never met. Same script. That the children belong in Turkey, that American women don't understand family, that I'm denying them their birthright. David's criminal trial is January. Jennifer says conviction is almost certain with the evidence. Next custody hearing in 3 weeks. She's confident it'll be permanent sole custody, no visitation until he's served time. But right now none of the legal stuff matters. My son flinches at loud noises. My daughter has nightmares. The man I loved never actually existed. It was all an act while he secretly hated our life and planned his exit with our children. I'm just trying to hold my babies together and somehow keep breathing. That's where we are. Marriage is over. This whole thing is insane, and I'm doing my best to survive it.